The U.S. government has ordered a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security after Congress failed to extend its funding before the midnight deadline. It's the third partial lapse this session, and it could have real impacts at airports, disaster response agencies, and other critical operations. At midnight, funding for the Department of Homeland Security expired when lawmakers in Washington could not agree on a budget, triggering a partial shutdown for the agency. The dispute centers on immigration enforcement policy reforms. Democrats have refused to back a funding bill without changes to how federal immigration agents operate, while Republicans in the White House pushed ahead without those limits.
What happens, we always have to protect our law enforcement. It's very important. They've done a great job. Remember, they've taken out hundreds of thousands of criminals out of our country. And we have the best crime numbers we've ever had, and everywhere.
Roughly 270,000 Homeland Security employees are affected. Of these, about 258,000, or over 90%, are deemed essential and must continue working without pay until funding resumes. Around 13% of the federal civilian workforce is tied to DHS operations. Transportation Security Administration, TSA, would see 95% of its staff, 61,000 screeners, working without pay if the shutdown lasts beyond a week. Though air traffic controllers are funded separately and will operate normally, TSA screeners could see longer wait times and staffing gaps if employees call out due to missed paychecks, especially during peak travel periods like spring break. Other DHS components, including the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, may struggle to reimburse states or coordinate disaster relief, and some administrative work across agencies may pause. ICE and Customs and Border Protection likely continue operations. These agencies have separate multi-year funding from prior legislation, meaning deportations and border security missions can carry on even during the shutdown.
But, we have to protect law enforcement. ICE has done a phenomenal job. Border Patrol, we have a closed border for the first time in history. We have to protect law enforcement, our police, our Border Patrol, ICE, and others in law enforcement. And I'm very much, look, I know what they want. I know what they can live with. The Democrats have gone crazy. They're radical left lunatics. That's why their cities are so unsafe. The blue cities are the cities that are unsafe. So we have to protect our law enforcement.
Earlier this year, Congress passed an overall government budget, but DHS was funded only through February 13th to allow extra time for negotiations over immigration policies. That deadline has now passed without a deal.